Hello, dear seekers. Welcome to the Healing Corner. This is Carrie again. Thank you for inviting me once again in your space. Today, I decided to utilize my office where I practice therapy. The reason why is we have to think outside of the box. Because of social distancing, I've been staying at home. That's where I actually recorded my first video, but you can hear in the background there were a lot of noises, and that could be my old refrigerator and the fan. Also, in my office right now, you may hear a little bit of noises in the background because I have a sound machine, but I think it won't be that bad. So what are we going to talk about today? Today, I want us to revisit unpacking our emotions of last time, fear and anxiety. Why are we still talking about those emotions? You know what? Because they're real, they're valid, and more than any time in our lives, it's very prominent right now. Once again, we are dealing with a pandemic, and it's a scary thing for all of us. If you remember last time, I discussed about asking yourself, why do I feel afraid? Why do I feel anxious? So that you can actually unpack and find all the reason why you're feeling those emotions. It helps you to take what's in here, and you release it. It's very important to write down your emotions. That's why journaling could be very beneficial because you're shedding those emotions. You're not just keeping that tension and that poison inside of you. Emotions are not facts, but they are your truth, and you need to acknowledge them. I want you to think about emotions by being subjective, saying, I feel this way, but do not forget to be objective. So let's take an example. If I say, I am afraid because I may get coronavirus, this is a valid fear. Let's acknowledge that's your truth right now. I also want you to be objective at the same time. But being objective is not denying your fear that you may contract coronavirus. It's saying, what put me in that space that I can be most likely or less likely to get infected? So I want you to write down, my fear is I can be infected, being subjective. But by being objective, I can think about thought, I can think about goals, plans, and behaviors that can diminish the impact, right? So maybe I'm afraid, but what can I do to help myself through the process? I can make sure I practice social distancing. I will make sure to wash my hands. I will make sure to sleep well, to eat properly, to meditate, to do yoga, and to be aware of the narrative that I tell myself. This is a great way to find balance. So you're being subjective and objective at the same time so that you can find that balance in the middle. So some of my favorite modalities that we can use to unpack and digest those emotions are CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. We're going to talk about EFT, emotional freedom techniques. We're going to talk about mindfulness, one of my favorites. And we're going to talk about Emdr, which stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. First, let's start with CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm going to use my board again. So here you go. Hopefully you can see. So if you think about CBT, okay, most of us are actually very aware of this process. I want you to think about the process. I want you to think about the narrative, the script that is playing in your head. If I have a circle here, I want you to think about how your thought affect your emotions. And then emotions, I want you to make a connection with your bodily sensations. And then I want you to think about your behavior or behaviors. You can see we have this wonderful loop. Remember our main thought that we had? I am afraid. For example, we stated that I am afraid that I'm going to get infected with coronavirus. This is actually a thought. Can you imagine? This could be a recurrent thought that's happening every day, all day. Once you realize what is your thought, right? I am afraid of being infected. I want you to think about your emotion, right? So the thought is the story. Your emotions, remember we say is fear or anxiety. And then the third step, I want you to scan your body. Stay put and locate where inside of your body do you feel that fear, that anxiety. For me, when I feel anxious and afraid, I feel it here, the center. So once you have that, think about it. You can react and you can behave. So let's practice just being subjective. Meaning I'm telling myself, you know what, I am positive that because with my luck, I am definitely most likely to be infected with the coronavirus. So I wake up and all I think about is I'm afraid that I'm going to get this. Then think about it. My fear and anxiety is going to be located in my body. I'm going to feel that tension. I am probably not going to be able to eat, to sleep, because it's affecting my body. And then what will be my behavior? Or what will be my behaviors? When you don't feel well, what do? I may overeat, I may sleep, I may just get stuck on the news and just listening to the news over and over again. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if we practice what we talked about, not just being subjective, being objective, we can acknowledge the thought, I'm afraid that I can get infected by the coronavirus. We can acknowledge that the fear and anxiety, I feel it in the center. And then we can just ponder on that. But before we go to behavior, this is where we can change the script. We can change the narrative. Instead of, I'm afraid I am going to be infected by coronavirus, I can say, it's a possibility, but I, Carrie, choose to do A, B, C, D, E to help me just process this day or to help me deal with these emotions. I guarantee you, you're gonna feel a little bit better. You're not gonna feel perfect. You're not gonna be happy and dancing. You're gonna be able to digest it because you're not just staying in those emotions. where you're not talking to them. Okay, so this is cognitive behavior therapy. Now I want us to explore another modality that I love. We're gonna wipe our board. So the next one that I really love to practice with myself and my clients is emotional freedom technique, EFT. Many of us are not aware that all over our body we have some points that we call meridians. They actually have energy. So emotional freedom technique teach us to be in touch with the emotions we have. So first you want to be responsible and take ownership of that emotion. For example, let's go back to fear and anxiety. So if I'm talking about feeling anxious, once again, I want you to be able to feel it inside of your body, locate where inside of your body you feel. And then I want you to rate it. I want you to rate the disturbance of your fear from 0, saying that I'm okay, I am not that disturbed, to 10, saying I am pretty afraid. Once you have that score, you can know how high your emotionality is or how high the tension is. So once you have that, I want you to take a deep breath in, breathe out, and then we can start what we call tapping. We're going to start tapping those points all over our body. Those points where we have energy that we call the meridian or meridians. So those points, I will show it to you. I am going to tap and you're going to follow me. Okay? So we tap here. We have energy here on the top of your head. Tap here on the temple, the side of our eyes, under our eyes, under our nose, under the chin, the collarbone, our side, and in here. And then when you finish tapping, you take a deep breath in and breathe out. However, with EFT, you actually have to speak. You have to give a voice to your emotions. So you're going to say why you feel afraid, what are the thoughts, and you tap. And then don't forget to be objective at the same time. So when you express those emotions, you are practicing what we said earlier. You're taking all the emotions, thought here, emotions here, you are speaking up. When we speak up, we are saying the power that those emotions and thought had over us, we are now letting it go. So don't forget, when you tap to those meridians, I want you to speak up by talking about your emotions. Be subjective and objective at the same time to find balance. Okay? So the third modality that I'm going to use with you is Emdr. It's also one of my favorites. I am going to write it down here. Emdr. What does EMDR stand for? EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing. What a big word. What it means is just cognitive reprocessing. I am going to give you an example. When we sleep Have you guys heard of the REM cycle? This is actually the space where our brain regenerates. Our brain takes care of us. It takes care of the trauma that we go through throughout the day. It takes care of our crises. But we don't have to do anything when we are in REM cycle. In REM cycle, I'm sorry. When we are in REM cycle, we are sleeping, but the brain is working. If someone can watch you when your brain is in the REM cycle, your brain is actually moving left, right, left, right. And this is what we do actually in EMDR. We use eye movement. We also call them bilateral stimulations. We use tapping and walking to stimulate your body. And if you think of the moving your fingers, eye movement, is actually going from left to right, from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system. That's how we process it. So before I practice EMDR with my clients, I like to think about stabilization techniques. Let's practice a few of them. The first one that I love to, I have to feel comfortable. The first one that we can practice is breathing, my favorite. There are two types of breathing. You can breathe from here, we can call it shallow, and you can do belly breathing. For stabilization techniques, I like to do belly breathing. You're going to feel your belly, feel it like a balloon. Inhale, exhale. One more, inhale, exhale. As you can see, my belly feeling like a balloon, and then when I say exhale, I contract my belly. That's a good way of practicing breathing. There's also the acupressure breathing. If you can find another energetical point here between your thumb and this finger, I want you to just give pressure to it while you're still breathing in, breathing out. Practice more of that, okay? So again, acupressure breathing can help you with releasing the anxiety and the fear. And I want us to practice butterfly hug. So this is the butterfly hug. Don't know if you can see me. So you have to interlock your fingers like this. And then I want this finger to be on the collarbone. And all you do is breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And another good part of EMDR, in addition to everything that I told you, is always a good way to find where you feel those emotions. Okay? So the last modality that we are going to use to unpack our emotion of fear or our emotion of anxiety is mindfulness. What is mindfulness? When you think about mindfulness, I want you to think about your five senses. Some of us may have six senses, but we know that for now we all have five senses. Okay, I want you to think about touch, smell, sound, taste, and was missing touch, smell, sound, taste. I always forget one. Touch, smell, sound, taste. The way I remember is I'll do touch, I'll touch my skin, and then, this is what I forgot, sight. Sight. So the homework that I give you for today, make sure you find 2 things for each senses that you can do to be grounded. I want you to learn to be grounded, to ground yourself. So what are 2 experiences of touch that can make you feel comfortable today? Make sure you write it down. Smell. What is a smell that appease you, comfort you? I want you to write it down. Sound. What is a sound that calm you, provide comfort? I want you to write it down. Taste. What is a taste that is pleasing to you? Sight. What do you see? What can you look at that can just help you to be grounded and to be comfortable? This is your homework. The reason why feeling grounded for the 5 senses, it teaches us to leave our mind and to be in a space where we feel grounded. So, I hope this was very helpful. I want to leave you guys with a little bit of affirmation. Affirmation or prayer or gardening or science, reading, the Bible, dancing, art, poetry, anything can be a way to experience life. A friend of mine gave me this book by Mark Nepo. He says the Book of Awakening. It's probably my favorite. Every day I read a chapter. So today is March 26th. I am going to read a little bit of a quote that I want you to take with you today and to ponder on it. So this is a quote by Jida Berlin. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. She says, "The fastest way to freedom is to feel your feelings." And then she gives you steps. Actually, she's not the one who gives you steps. The author is. He says, find ways to meditate on the way you may avoid your feelings. So meditate on the ways you might avoid your feelings. Second step, in your silence, stop holding them off with word or reason or busyness. And then the last step, simply be assured and let your feeling wash against you like waves. So this is your homework for today. I want you to write it down. I want you to ponder on it, and I want you to experience it. So my dear seekers, we are toward the end of this video. I want you also to use technology to help you. Maybe watch the news once or twice a day. And watch reputable news. Maybe watch where you have experts, those who actually do research. Those are the news that you want to get, but you cannot watch the news the whole day. It's killing your soul. It's good to be informed, but you have to practice self-care. I want you also to use your phone. You can have meditation app, mood trackers app, so many things that you can explore. So my dear seekers, please take care of yourself, take care of your loved one, take care of your family, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe in the bottom, like my videos so that I can have more content. We're gonna do our 2 breaths before I let you go. You can do the belly breathing, or you can do the up or shallow breathing. You ready? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Thank you. For more information about getting a reading therapy, feel free to check out my website www.soul-affirmingllc.com. Thank you so much.